Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show. Hey everybody, welcome in. Jesse Montano, Meghan Angley. It's first intermission. Avs Canucks as the Avs are wrapping up the second half of their back-to-back road trip in Western Canada. Meghan, it's 2-1. Avs are up in this one. Quick start. Nathan MacKinnon gets a couple goals. We have to just park a couple quick minutes to talk about what happened last night in Edmonton. I know you were up at Eagles. You weren't maybe able to watch the entirety of Avs Oilers, but Meghan, for me, one of the most complete games we've seen from the Avs all season. Kind of took it to the Oilers, winning puck battles, winning races. Puck was fine in the back of the net. I was curious to see how much that would carry over here to tonight. But just kind of broad strokes, you've got to feel really, really good if you're the Avs about that performance last night in what I'm sure for them felt like a statement win.
I think I appreciated several aspects about the game, and starting with how complete it was, their sense of seizing opportunity any given shift, despite having a clear lead and edge in that game, they finished it out. And so I think, some teams maybe could have at some point just decided to hold the line. And I like that they continued to build on that momentum. And quite frankly, it reached a point where they had defeated Edmonton's spirit so much that I don't even think they were looking to create some of those opportunities so much as they landed on their doorstep late in that game. And so I think even the body language of players like Nate MacKinnon late in that game, it strikes me as significant. He's not over celebrating those goals. It was a business meeting and the Avs took care of business. So they really demonstrated just how far this team has come in terms of their depth, because it wasn't just a Nathan MacKinnon show. They got the depth contributions, and you saw players like Parker Kelly step up big. And so I feel so good about this team's depth, and I think it's going to be tested tonight. So I bet they feel good about last night, but they'll feel better depending on how this game goes, because they probably don't have their legs under them, probably a little bit gassed. That was a very eventful hockey game last night. So I imagine that there's a sense of, okay, but we still have one other job to do. Like, that was fun, but it'll say a lot more about us, how we close out this second game in a back-to-back.
Well, and how big is it that, like, to your point, they stayed on the gas. It wasn't like they let up anything like that last night, but it gotten to the point where, it so demoralized the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton kind of stopped skating, which meant the Avs didn't have to play a bunch of hard minutes there in the third period, which is just, really beneficial when you're coming into a night like tonight against another team that played yesterday. And a team that's given you some problems, that's given you some fits in the last couple of years. So good to see the Avs come in. And hey, after going 0 for 7 last night in a game where they scored 9 goals, they kick off tonight's game with a power play goal. Let's jump to tonight's game. First period, what'd you think? Nathan MacKinnon, 2 goals, including 1 on the power play. Another one, really nice setup from Val Nichushkin.
Well, I like that they get the power play goal in this first period. I don't know if we want to start with the first Nate goal, but it's just a team that understands they might not have their legs under them for the entirety of this game, so it's important to strike early. And so, about under 7 minutes into this game, it's the high-skill players doing high-skill things. You have Makar from below his own goal line skating that puck to the circle in the other end. And I think that there's 2 things on both these goals back to back that they're utilizing a little bit of deception in what they expect Vancouver expects them to be doing. And so, like, on this first Nathan MacKinnon goal, you can tell that Nichushkin's body language when he gets that pass from Makar is that he's going to take that shot from the slot. And instead, it's this one-touch heads-up pass to Nate at the bottom of the circle to wrist it in. And I think they utilize a very similar layer of deception on that second Nathan MacKinnon goal. And this is when we talked about, I don't mind if they try things. I don't mind if they try things. I think they're really starting to gel and figure out what's working for them. And I like that they strike early.
Let's talk about the power play goal, because I made a comment to you when they scored. You said, wow, that was a really nice pass from Victor Olofsson. And it was. And I said, you know, Megan, what's so funny just proves how little we always know, right? I was about to say, you need to shoot that. I thought it was one pass too many. As I was watching last night's beatdown in Edmonton, the Avs did so many things right. On the power play, I felt like there were times where they were overpassing.
Right.
As a result of the lanes being open, you could tell they were snapping the puck around. They were feeling it. They were connecting tape to tape. And it just felt like one too many, another one too many. You should have shot it two passes ago. Why are you still passing it?
Right.
And I got worried that was a little bit of what they got caught in there. But Nathan MacKinnon collects it. It takes him a second, not able to take it on the stick, off the stick, has to kind of collect it a bit and puts it to the net. As long as they continue to demonstrate that they are going to put the puck towards the net, and I mean that from the standpoint of for opposing teams to have to respect the fact a puck might come to the net here. And maybe you can make the argument to your point about, kind of having layered deception there. I think maybe people did think that Victor Olofsson was going to be someone to put that puck towards the net. He is a guy that is not afraid to shoot on the power play, takes that one extra second, makes that pass. I like that Nathan MacKinnon then put that puck to the net. If you are going to make one pass more than you should have because you really think it's the right play, that next guy's got to put the puck to the net. So Nathan MacKinnon does. And you find yourself with a 2-goal lead. And again, just want to reiterate, you and I talked about it on this show, more pucks than on the power play. And I think it was 2 nights later was the 4-goal outburst on the power play. And what did Jared Bednar say? Nobody was afraid to shoot tonight. And I want to make sure that I like those extra passes. Puck's got to get to the net right after that, though.
That's what I liked about, why the Tampa Bay power play, like against Tampa Bay in that game where Victor Olofsson was huge on it. It worked because Victor Olofsson was one of the only players willing to just shoot. He wasn't in search of a next pass, and it benefited them. And so it's interesting to see that they must have some scouting on the way in which Vancouver manages those lanes, that they can be baited into kind of some aggressive coverage. And so they're almost inviting skaters to be drawn into them and doing something else. And I think that this is very specific then to Vancouver. And what I wanted to point out too is in talking about them striking early with that first Nate MacKinnon goal, it's Ross Colton who draws this penalty because he's just too much to handle. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important that there's a little bit of energy from the drop of this puck. So they get this power play, and the way they play the puck at the blue line, it's like they're baiting these penalty killers because they know, like the Avs know, like we love a high cycle, right?
Yep.
Vancouver's PK knows that too. Well, we're going to use this to our advantage. And so Makar specifically baits Sherwood into him, and he's got his head looking like he's looking at Nate, and he drops the puck to Nichushkin at the right circle. And that just gave them a little extra time and space in the middle for Olofsson to get there. Now everyone's kind of panicking to turn their attention to Nichushkin, who gets that puck off to Olofsson in the middle quickly. And very similarly, body language, that looks like a guy who has the shooting threat. And now he's between the hash marks. He's probably taking that shot, right? Nope. Backhand pass to Nathan MacKinnon. And so I think it's those extra layers of deception where they're using things that they typically do on the power play that they know Vancouver expects of them to their advantage. I think it's very clever. And it's something that they have to be, careful of how they deploy that, because being predictable is good, but at some point too, that could make some of these plays a little harder to execute. So on the whole, I think Vancouver has a lot of push in this period. And that's why the Avs getting those first 2 early, you walk away from it, it's really significant because Vancouver has a pretty big push at the end of this period. In particular, they get the goal. And so now they're only within 1 striking distance. They're out shooting. They're possessing the puck a little bit more. But the Avs have a 1-goal lead going into the second. So it's not a perfect period, but being on the road, second game, back-to-back, both teams, I think it's going to be tight, but you have to be happy with the way the Avs came out from the drop of the puck.
Well, and Vancouver, not only did they have a push there, they're a team that those are heavy minutes. Vancouver's a team that and their goal, right? They like to put pucks to the net, follow them there, cause havoc, get involved after whistles. And, they've built their team. You can tell to kind of try to fit that identity, with guys like Connor Garland, with guys like, oh my goodness, his name completely fell out of my head, Kiefer Sherwood, my goodness.
Yes.
But with those types of guys that at least in a part of their lineup have that identity, and they're just tough to play against. You know that you're going to get that from them continually throughout the game. But again, this is a team that, yes, it was at home. They didn't have to travel. They also played last night. So I'm with you. You like the Avs coming out, getting on top of them. Let's talk about Mackenzie Blackwood here, because I think he's someone that's one, I thought played well in that first period, and two, is going to need to turn in a good game, given everything that you just, kind of highlighted with where the Avs are at, having played last night, things like that. His second start of the season so far. I don't necessarily think, Megan, that I don't think there was a setback. I just think that he's taken his time getting back. I think the play of Scott Wedgwood has allowed them to do that. And especially even in the last week and a half, when Mackenzie Blackwood has been able to back up, I think the Avs just said, take your time. Take your time. And he has looked a little bit like he's needed that. I definitely tell there's a little bit of rust there. So I think it's good the Avs have been able to let him slowly ramp up. I liked his first period. Thought he made a couple really nice saves, couple really strong pushes in tight.
Yeah, well, especially because Vancouver is putting a lot of havoc there. They're trying to get pucks from distance, and then they're ready to go for those rebounds. So I can see from the jump, too, that I think there's a commitment from the defenseman to try and support Mackenzie Blackwood, but sometimes you've got too many cooks in the kitchen, too. And so I really think the only reason things go sideways on this Linus Karlsson goal is because Taves is trying to support Blackwood in covering that post, and Blackwood is also on his belly, stretching back to get his stick on the post. And it just kind of rendered Blackwood unable to help. But there is a play from Malinsky earlier in the period, a good stick on a lane. And it was almost like he was like, do you want this? Is Mackenzie Blackwood going to get a stick on this? Is he going to cover? Does he want to whistle? And Malinsky just skated away with it instead to help break out the puck. And where I'm going with this is 17-9, Vancouver outshot. High danger chances, 7-5 in favor of Vancouver. Mackenzie Blackwood was tested in that first period. I think that first one's just a little bit funky, and they're going to need to continue to support him at the net front. And I also think Taves, because he gets a piece of this shot from distance, but he's also a little bit in Mackenzie Blackwood's eyes. So I think that's where some of Mackenzie Blackwood's panic on that play also unfolded. I'll chalk it up to being just kind of a weird one, because I otherwise think, especially if that Besser save on that snapshot in close late in that period, I think Mackenzie Blackwood's in this game. I'm not worried about him.
And huge credit to Linus Karlsson. That's a really high skill play on the goal line. God. I mean, like, he's got a guy draped all over him. Like, that's a high skill play.
Well, so he tries for that initial rebound. He doesn't get it between his legs. Backhand lifts it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
over Mackenzie Blackwood. Yeah. It was very impressive.
Yeah, big credit to Linus Karlsson. His first goal of the season. Didn't react like it was his first NHL goal, but was a key contributor for Abbotsford last year, the American Hockey League, on their route to the Calder Cup. Megan, any other thoughts from you? We do have a super chat we're going to get to before the end of the intermission. But anything else? Just for me, Megan, it's more of the same. I liked take all the goals out of it. I liked so much of what the Avs did last night. That was one of my favorite games process-wise that I've seen from them in a long time. And I think second out of a back-to-back, I like that first period on the road, right? Road period.
Right, good road period.
Good road period. But I just want to see more of what we saw last night in terms of the habits, winning races, winning board battles, pucks to the net, not make the simple play, right? Not overcomplicating things yourself.
I want to emphasize and reinforce this point from Big C about Blackwood needing to start with a fresh team in front of him. Obviously, that is not possible in this game, but I do want to see then that commitment to their net front coverage, and not an overcommitment like a scrambly type thing, because you'd see that sometimes with Georgiev, right? I want to see them also have trust in Blackwood. And so I want them to be committed to the net front coverage while still trusting Blackwood as well. I know that sounds maybe like it's a little counterintuitive, but I do want that to be a point of emphasis, even though they are probably going to be a little bit tired. Just defend the house. It's pretty simple, because I think Vancouver is going to try to capitalize on that fact.
Yeah. Let's check out this super chat. Ooh, hit the lights. I hope Megan has good active recovery since she's worked back-to-back nights. Eagles Friday, Eagles last night, Avs tonight. How is your post-game recovery?
I was
routine
gonna
going?
tweet last night that I have hockey zoomies, but I didn't think it would make sense out of context. But I'm just in a great mood. Like I prefer it this way. So
Yeah.
I'm doing great.
Maybe a little bit less driving.
Okay, yeah, the driving part.
Yeah.
I wish I could teleport.
Couple miles
I wish
fewer.
Nathan McKinnon would teach me how to teleport.
All right, that's gonna do it. Second period is getting underway here in just a couple moments. Avs up 2-1 over the Vancouver Canucks. Do you have a prediction? Second period prediction or no? You're not feeling it?
Okay.
You don't have to force it. I don't want you to force it.
No, okay, I won't force it. I'll think on this more for the next intermission.
We'll have a second intermission into the third prediction for Meghan Angley. That's gonna do it. She's Megan. I'm Jesse. We got Ashley. We got Mark back there tonight, making sure everybody can see us and hear us. We'll see you guys second intermission. We'll also see you post game. Make sure you're tuning in for both. Talk to you guys next intermission. Bye.
Bye.